All right, welcome back. It's the Vegas Take Sharp and Shapiro. Luckily for me, no alien probed me over the weekend. Thank God.
That you know of.
That I know of, correct. That is true. That I know of. What is our producer doing? There's the door should be open. It's 100 degrees in here. What are you doing? Why are you closing the door?
It's critical Monday here for Brian Shapiro, right? He's calling people out left and right. He's got me. I'm rubbing my shoulder against the microphone.
I think you should go on that.
He's got Steiner. He's firing up on Steiner here for opening the door and closing the door.
And explain to us why you are trying to sabotage the show.
I think he just needs a granola bar.
It is Jason Stein's first day, so I do think we had to have the producer in here to chat a little bit.
It's going really, really
Quickly
well.
say hello. Why are you trying to sabotage the show on day one?
The sound of the show.
The sound?
Yeah, it needs to be. The door needs to be closed to sound at the best it can possibly sound.
All right. Well, now you're affecting the sound of the show by talking. Get out of here. Leave.
Okay.
Leave.
I think it sounds good. We're all loud talkers. We're all loud.
I think that Brian treats Jason Stein with a little bit of disrespect, and next time he comes on, I want you to apologize for that.
Jason, I'm sorry. I apologize, even though I don't mean it.
He's like, whatever. Stein just waves his hand.
No, I don't mean it at all. It's hot in here, man. Anyway, we have a special guest on the line.
Jason's
by the way,
going to let you up later for that, by the way.
Storm Area 51, if you didn't know, it did take place over the weekend, although I don't think anybody stormed it. And sadly, there was a death, though. I hate to report this, but a cow collided with a car on the highway. The cow did not make it. The driver's fine. The cow didn't make it. So sadly enough, the cow, rest in peace. But anyway, joining us on the line right now, did a great job out there all weekend for the RJ. Covering Storm Area 51. That's Mick Akers. Mick, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
What's up, Mick?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. So tell me, what was the first day you went out there?
Well, I was actually out there Monday and Tuesday. We stayed at the Alien Inn, me and a photographer. Drove back on Tuesday afternoon, stayed the night in Vegas, and then we went back out with the RV on Wednesday, and I just got back last night.
What is that motel like? Can you explain to us? What is it like staying there?
There's little, I'd say like mini mobile homes with 2 rooms and a shared bathroom, you know?
Right, standard.
I love
it. It has a 70s vibe to it.
So, okay. So Mick, would it be closer to maybe the Wild Wild West over on Tropicana, or are we thinking more like the Cosmo on the Strip? Which one would be closer to, do you think?
I would say the Wild Wild West would be would be the Cosmo compared to that.
Exactly, yeah.
So you're telling me there were hookers surrounding your motel out there? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Okay, I'm sorry. It's a horrible joke.
I don't know about that, but
horrible joke.
Anyway, that's a question. Well, Mick,
right.
I have a really serious question for you. Did you try a alien burger or not?
Yeah, I had 3 or 4 of them just going out there over the last 5 or 6 weeks.
I heard they're pretty good. All right, so let's get down to business. Did anybody actually attempt to storm Area 51?
Well, there was 6 arrests at the gates. 5 were for trespassing for people that went over the gate. And then 1 more because a Canadian guy urinated on the gate in front of the cops. So he got indecent exposure.
Well, so you're telling me a guy dropped trowel and just started peeing on the gates of a government property? Well, that sounds like a great decision. I'm sure they love that.
With a dozen cops, standing there with their guns in tow, and there's a couple of guards inside the gate keeping track on everybody. So it wasn't the wisest thing to do, I'd say.
No. So I saw a live feed video of some of these kids that were saying they were going to storm Area 51, and really what it looked to me was like Burning Man. It looked like a bunch of campers that were maybe taking some drugs, drinking, having a good time. And I don't think 99% of these people actually believed that they were actually going to try to storm Area 51. Is that fair to make that assessment?
Yeah, I was there on the Friday at 3 a.m. was like the time they were supposed to actually do it with the whole Facebook thing. There's about 100 people there. A lot of wacky costume signs, chants, and all that. People would pretended to get to the gate, and then if you actually even got touched it or got super close to it, the guards would kind of yell at you. But for the most part, the police were interacting with the kids, kind of having fun with it, joking along with them as well. So it was a good time, but no serious storming going on at all.
What's the weirdest chant you heard out there?
Well, they had the clap them cheeks one, so they wanted to get the aliens and get them to work apparently.
Viral.
So that was the theme, for the whole weekend was clap them cheeks.
Okay, some of the weirdest outfits you saw. Describe them to us.
This one guy had his whole entire head covered with tinfoil except for his eyes and his mouth. It kind of looked like a serial killer outfit, so that was a little scary looking there. Several alien ones, it's different mix. Some guy had he looked like the guy from The Hangover, but his baby was an alien holding a mini Jack Daniels bottle, so that was pretty cool. I saw him the next day, and he didn't have the baby, so I was like, hey, is someone babysitting for you? He's like, yeah, it's a rough night.
Did you see Alex Jones there?
No, I did not.
Last I checked, Alex Jones was not there. So we spoke briefly off the air to management over there at the hotel or motel, whatever you want to call it, and or mobile inn, whatever. And they said that they actually lost money. Do you believe that? Did nobody actually make any money out there?
Yeah, I'd assume they put so much money into it, like probably around somewhere in the six-figure range from just talking with some people. They had two events. There was one in Rachel, the alien stock, and there was another one in Heiko, which is 40 miles away from there. They had the Area 51 base camp, and that one only had about 100 or 150 people show up on the first night, even though they had Paul Oakenfold, the famous DJ, and the Arby's food truck and all this other stuff. So that one definitely is going to be losing some money. The guy said, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to kill him.
Right.
But, so with Connie over at the Alien Inn, she, that one had about 3,000 people just spread out over 20 acres. So you never really got the full picture because no one really ever got congregated in the same area at the same time. But she put a lot of money into it. So I'd say if she doesn't break even, she'll take a little bit of a hit, but she's already looking forward to next year.
Right. So tell me about that. So they've already put the dates together for this event happening next year as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, they go around the same time frame, the same dates. But this one, it's going to be September 20th of 2020, so she thought it was like kind of a special one. She said 2 people already reserved a room at the Alien Inn for next year, so there's obviously, some interest. I would assume that people, at first heard about this and didn't think it was going to be anything or might not, anyone would even show up. So getting at least like 3,000 people out there, it's a pretty big feat in itself, I think. If
you're just joining us, we're talking to Mick Akers from the Review-Journal. He covered Storm Area 51 throughout the week. So I'm imagining you talked to a lot of different people out there, and I imagine some of the people traveled from pretty far away. Can you tell us a story, maybe someone you spoke to and that really traveled a long, long way to kind of just hold up a sign in front of Area 51? Can you, what type of people did you meet out there, and what stories can you share with us?
Yeah, just when I was at the gate, I went there a couple of times when we were there. I was talking to one of the officers, and he asked everyone when they get there, like, hey, where are you guys from? Just to take a little mental note. He said all 50 states were accounted for in several countries.
Wow.
So from when I talked to people, I don't think I ever even talked to someone that was even from Nevada. Everyone was from out of state or out of country, so I thought that was pretty interesting. The one people that were actually from Nevada were from Fallon, Nevada. This whole family that kind of saved the music aspect. They booked all the bands. They built the stage. They got the PA system and all the drums and equipment and all that. And they kind of would feed everyone that would come every morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have, drinks for everybody. Everyone, they kind of were the parents of the whole, festival. So that was a pretty cool aspect, seeing the family kind of come in and help Connie, and this little, community was built there. And so a lot of, friendships were made there, I think. So that was the biggest takeaway, that people were kind of, meeting new people, but making some lifelong friends, it seemed like.
Yeah, and that's a good point you make. Initially, with the Let's Storm Area 51, they can't stop us all. There was 2 million likes on Facebook. There was a bunch of people attending the event, and it was kind of thought that it would be more of a malicious thing, but it ended up being more of a gathering of like-minded individuals, kind of a celebratory setting. Would you agree with that?
Well, quotations like-minded. I don't know.
Right.
I guess. Go ahead,
No,
Nick.
I would say that's a perfect, description of what went down. Like I said, there was only a handful of arrests. Those were all at the gate. There was 4 crashes, 2 involved cows, actually. So 2 dead cows. I saw 3 on the side of the road, so I don't know what happened to the third one. But there was a rollover crash in a dry lake bed where we actually made it out to the scene. And, everyone seemed like they were going to be okay. One got life-flighted, but they said it was just serious injuries. So it didn't seem anything too crazy. And, one reported over intoxication on drugs that was treated and released. So that was only one of those. So obviously, people were kind of staying within their own limits, I think, out there, especially being so rural. I don't think anyone really wanted to test anything too crazy. So, yeah, it was a good time. No major incidents. So I think that's a good thing. Did
you ever encounter the 2 guys from the Netherlands who got arrested? Did you ever talk to them at all?
No, I didn't see them down there. I'm not sure if they were or not. I know there was tons of YouTubers. That was you see all these wacky guys with all these cameras, filming these videos and doing some crazy stuff. I would say there's a large contingent of YouTubers there. So, but yeah, I didn't see those 2 guys.
And to piggyback off of what you described, of course, is something that could have been a serious situation. Obviously, if there were thousands or hundreds of people that would have stormed a military installation, Mick, it would have been a major problem. Did any officials from the installation come out and actually address the crowds that were there and talk about what it should not happen if they thought about actually doing something?
No one came out and said anything. If if all the officers standing in the front, if you ask them, they can give you the rundown. Basically, if you try to do it, it would be $1,000 trespassing fine and up to 30 days in jail. But obviously, if you had a mass of people trying to do it, I'm sure they would have to take some preventative measures. And they've always mentioned that they can they'll use deadly force if needed. But the only time someone came out was on the 20th. A guard came from inside. He's wearing a full face mask and all of his camo gear, and he had a guard dog with him, kind of saying, "Hey, if you want to attempt to run in, this dog's gonna, come out and munch on you a little bit."
So, jeez, wow. Okay, so Mick, we've talked a lot about the people who came out, but now let's talk about the U.S. military. I thought they did a pretty good job, except for one big mistake that they made, and I want to talk to you about this, and I'm sure you've heard about it. So the U.S. military apologized for a tweet that threatened to use a bomber against millennials who tried to break into the secretive Area 51 base. First of all, I thought that was completely inappropriate, number one. Number two, why would they tweet something like that out and then use the word millennial? And I know they apologized for it, but who the hell did that? I would imagine somebody probably lost their job.
Yeah, I'm not even aware of that tweet myself. Since I was out there, I wasn't really on tap with all the tweets. I was just kind of doing my thing with my own. But I would assume someone would lose a job with that kind of thing. I know they did have a drone flying around just keeping track of all the people that were in the area, and they knew how many people were going up to the gates at each time. So they had a very accurate account of what was going down at the time.
And by the way, that tweet was eventually deleted by a PR arm of the U.S. military, showed a photo of a stealth bomber stating it would be the last thing Raiders would see, which is not really exactly appropriate. Okay, so let me ask you this. This is the billion-dollar question, right, for everybody. And I know we're just going to be skeptics here, maybe or maybe not, but what is it that you think is in Area 51? I've been on the record saying there's probably, you're not going to see aliens there, but probably some identified flying object. Not saying a flying saucer, but there's probably some objects that maybe have not been identified that maybe they have taken in. Maybe there's some things in there that are secretive. I don't know. From what you've heard, from what you've seen, what are your estimation? I know it's a guess. What do you think is at Area 51?
Just from talking from people, a lot of people would come up to me, call me, email me, say, "Hey, I used to work in there, this and that." There's no alien stuff. It's just kind of top secret military-based stuff, which they don't want people to see yet. It's kind of a testing ground. It's in the Nevada testing ground for the Air Force. So obviously, a lot of preparation for war, and they do some of the war games, the red flag exercises over the airspace there. So it's probably somewhere around the lines of some kind of military technology that it's not from aliens, but it's top secret stuff that they don't want to get out there at this point.
So you're telling me that you've actually spoken with several people that have worked there, and they're opening their mouth and talking to you about it?
Yeah, there's a couple guys. One guy saying that he wrote a book about it, and he said that they can't make him not do this. So he was very adamant. There's no alien stuff in there. Obviously, I haven't verified that. I don't think I could. Obviously, with some of the protocols that go into military ID and all that stuff.
Wow.
A few people were like, "Yeah, I've been in there. There's no aliens in there."
So, Mick, let me pose this question to you flat out. Do you believe in extraterrestrial life out there?
I'm not a huge believer. It's plausible that there could be something else out there with how big the universe is. But obviously, technology these days, they're kind of looking to every nook and cranny in the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So, with no verified piece of evidence besides some videos that are kind of weird. If you see something kind of strange going through the air, I'm not the biggest believer, but I wouldn't leave it out in the realm of possibility.
Well, Mick, I got to say, man, I appreciate you taking some time to join us. And before we let you go, give out that information. How do people follow you and read your articles?
Yeah, articles are all on reviewjournal.com. I'm on Twitter, Mick Akers. That's MickAkers, no space.
Mick, thanks so much for the time, man. Great job covering the events out there. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
you bet.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mick.
Mick Akers with the Review Journal joining us, giving us what went down over the weekend at Storm Area 51. So we got a lot else to get to coming up later here in the show. We got this Bridget the Midget story right out of Las Vegas. It couldn't happen anywhere better than Las Vegas. We'll get to that in a little bit. Also, a celebrity chef dead at 44, and you're not going to believe what he was doing and what he was posting the night before he died of a heart attack. We'll get to that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.